8-year-old James Younger, a biological boy from Texas, whose mother tells him he is a transgender girl named Luna, while his father says James wants to be who he is, a boy named James. He's back in the crosshairs of the radical leftist ideology. In a court decision handed down this week, a Texas judge named Mary Brown ruled that the boy's mother gets full custody and full medical decision-making power over the child, while James's father is under gag order, not allowed to discuss the case in public and forced to pay for James's gender counseling and transition, despite no power to participate in choosing the counselor or the medical provider. A Facebook page run by James's father, Jeffrey Younger's friends, it's called Save James, says the cost of the gender counseling and transition is $5,000 per month. By the way, there's evidence that James is suffering abuse at the hands of his mother. When he was 3 years old, James's mother told him he was a girl. She then locked him in his room and told him monsters only eat little boys. She withheld affection, reportedly, from James unless he acted like a girl. She dressed James in dresses, painted his nails, bought him headbands and hair clips, took him to a transgender clinic, and she told the court she'd put James on puberty blockers to chemically castrate him when he was 8 or 9 years old, to turn him into a transgender girl. But then when a judge told James that he could pick his own gender, James chose to go to school dressed as a boy. A new piece of legislation in the state of California will remove mandatory sex registry status for adults who have anal or oral sex with minors between the ages of 14 and 17 if the adult is within 10 years of age of the minor. And instead of leaving that to the discretion of the judge, the sponsor of the bill, California State Senator Scott Wiener, says this protects LGBTQ youth, but the facts beg to differ. Under the terms of this bill, a 24-year-old man could have anal sex with a 14-year-old boy. That adult man would not have to register as a sex offender despite his predatory law-breaking behavior. A new piece of legislation in Canada, Bill C-8 in the House of Commons, would send parents to jail if they decline to facilitate a transgender gender transition for their minor children. Yep, if your 6-year-old girl wants to have her uterus removed and you say, "No, sweetie, you're a girl, we're not going to do that," well, it's prison for you. Sneaky. These liberals are sneaky, always trying to hide their true agenda in bills they pretend are just protecting kids from abusive Pray the Gay Away camps. We on this show exposed a similar fraudulent bill in California. Don't think we're going to let Canada get away with it either. This is the language of the bill, C-8. The bill bans conversion therapy, but how do they define conversion therapy? In the legislation, conversion therapy is defined as, quote, a practice, treatment, or service designed to change a person's sexual orientation to heterosexual or gender identity to cisgender, or to repress or reduce non-heterosexual attraction or sexual behavior, end quote. So if your 8-year-old son says he's a girl, and you, as a parent, tell him gently, "No, you're a boy," if you don't take him to a gender identity confirming therapist and start him on transgender hormones that will chemically castrate him and put him on the road to infertility and then drive him to surgery to cut off his genitals, then you as a parent can face 5 years in jail. And if your family counselor tells your 16-year-old lesbian daughter that it's unhealthy to have sexual orgies in her bedroom, well, might as well drive that counselor to the slammer. That is illegal now too, since you can't do anything intended to, and I quote the bill, repress or reduce somebody's non-heterosexual sexual behavior. Netflix released a new movie called Cuties. It's about 11-year-old girls who are part of a twerking dance troupe. That's right. This movie is beyond disturbing. In fact, it's child pornography. It portrays 11-year-old children doing explicitly sexual dances, posing in sex positions, touching themselves sexually on a stage. The movie also reveals the naked breast of one of the 11-year-old girls and features crotch shots of the girls while they are dancing. I refuse to rebroadcast the scenes to show you because I refuse to take part in the exploitation of these innocent little girls. But make no mistake, this movie is child pornography, period. In fact, IMDb's parental warning warns that scenes in the movie are, quote, legally defined as pedophilia. And they're right. Reportedly, one of the scenes from the movie, the shirt of the 11-year-old girl is pulled up to reveal her breast. She is a minor. She's a child. That is child pornography. First of all, The parents of the girls in this movie should lose custody for pimping out their 11-year-old daughters, profiting off the sexualization of their children. This is abuse. If a father posted a video on YouTube of his 11-year-old daughter touching herself sexually for the camera and then lifting her shirt to reveal her breast, he'd be arrested in a second. So why is it okay for parents to pimp out their daughters just because Netflix wants to broadcast it to millions of people? What is wrong with Netflix? If you encourage children to behave in sexual ways, to pose in graphic, explicit sexual poses, and engage in sexual touching for the camera, you are a sexual predator. If you defend this movie, like the Daily Beast, who says, Cuties, the coming-of-age film that landed Netflix in hot water, is this month's must-watch, you are enabling pedophilia. Think about how many pedophiles are watching this film, and no, don't pretend the quality of the film itself outweighs the controversial dancing by the young girls. No. If you enjoy watching 11-year-olds twerk, you are a creep. If you taught 11-year-olds to touch themselves on camera, you are abominable. If you defend Netflix airing this child pornography, you are enabling abuse. Now, I'm not a huge fan of boycotts in general, but enough is enough. If we don't protect the innocence of children from predators who sexually exploit them, then what are we even doing? So go tell Netflix. Either get rid of this child pornography off their site or cancel your Netflix account.
As we celebrate Pride and the progress we've made over these past years, there's still work to be done. So to those of you out there who are still working against equal rights, we have a message for you.
You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep them from disco, warn about San Francisco, make him wear pleated pants, we don't care. We'll convert your children. We'll make them tolerant and fair.
At first I didn't get why you'd be so scared of us turning your children into accepting, caring people, but I see now why you'd have a problem with that.
Just like you worried, they'll change their group of friends. You won't approve of where they go at night to protests. But when you'll be disgusted, so gross, when they start finding things online that you've kept far from their sight, like information, guess what? You'll still be alright. We'll convert your children, yes we will. Reaching one and all, there's really no escaping it. Cause even grandma likes RuPaul. And the world's getting kinder. Gen Z's gayer than Grindr. Learn to love, learn to vogue, face your fate. We'll convert your children. Someone's gotta teach them not to hate. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. We're coming for them.
Your children will care about fairness and justice for others. Your children will work to convert all their sisters and brothers. Then soon we're almost certain your kids will start converting you. The gay agenda is coming home. The gay agenda is here. But you don't have to worry. Cause there's nothing wrong with standing by our side. Get on board in a hurry. Because the world always needs a bit more pride. No, you don't have to worry. Cause there's nothing wrong with standing by our side. Get on board in a hurry. Because the world always needs a bit more pride. Come on, try a little pride. We'll convert your children. will turn to you. Giving up the fear inside is freeing like you never knew.
Go and see San Francisco.
Go and turn up that disco.
You'll forget you were ever upset.